ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Ronen Trifon, our lifestyle director. 3 was actually born in Melbourne, Australia. He moved to Israel as a young child with the family and was raised there till he returned to Australia at the age of 20. And after 30 years in the world of information technology, that's IT, working for various companies like Microsoft and other companies, and managing the Southeast Asia and configuration management companies, Ronen discovered there is no better industry than direct sales and network marketing. He sought after the public speaking, coach, and mentorship. And for thousands around the globe, he mentored. He has over 32 years in MLM industry and is in the advisory board with the CEO and top leadership members of Opulence Global Company, as he has been with the company for 8 years. So he's just not started. Ronen is a pioneer and founder of Australia and New Zealand and the Israeli market. In fact, Ronen has had 2 life-challenging experiences in opening new countries in network marketing companies. Ronen has multiple top leadership awards, free LD to cruise, and free exotic vacation. What makes Ronen really unique is his philosophy and long-term focus about MLM and what really creates duplication and retention. Most of all, he is a friend of mine and believes in impacting and empowering others to make a better world for every one of us. Also, recently, he received the Top Middle East Income Earner Award, and as well, one of the top 10 MGRS winners for Opulence Global in the last years. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to welcome you to our Lifestyle Director 3, Mr. Ronen Trifon. Ronen, the stage is all yours.
Wow, wow, wow. What an edification, quite a mouthful. You've done a tremendous job, Stella. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you. You have been so dedicated. You've hosted and presented and trained so many people in your year with us. And it's always a pleasure to work hand in hand with great leaders. Keep your video on, at least I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Can everybody hear me well?
Yes, we can see you and your picture is perfect.
Wonderful. So let me share the screen, and I want to say to everyone on the call with us, I hope your weekend is wonderful. And the same as you, I have to put my business mind on. So I put my fairy stuff, I put my watch, I get into a business mode, and we're going to do training together with all of you from all over the world. So let me see if I can get straight into our presentation and our training today. So I hope all of you have a notepad so you can write things on, because we're going to go into quite a few very important topics today. The first one is the importance of our MY5 system. It's a very, very unique system that only exists, as far as I know, in Opulence Global. I have not seen this system anywhere in the world. And it's a shame, because I was hoping many will duplicate us so they can take advantage of it. One of the biggest challenges in our industry, which is a communication industry, we all come into this business through a friend, we see a presentation, we join someone, but in reality, that someone that we've joined might be a person that got in a few days before us, a few weeks before us, which means that if we only have them to coach us, to guide us, to mentor us, we are very, very limited, and we will never be able to overpass their knowledge. That is why we want every partner of ours, from the day they start the business, to have access to 5 mentors, so they are never limited and there's never any bottlenecks in the growth of every individual. Remember, we are anti-pyramidionic business, which means the person on the bottom can make more money than the person on the top. In order for that to happen, the person on the bottom needs to have the ability to have access to knowledge, training, and support from people that have been in the business not just a month or 2 months, but from a versatile group of people that each of them has done and achieved more. Okay, so it's a very unique system. And the day that you come into our business, if it is not done, if you're watching this video or if you're with us live today, if it is not done, the second this call will finish, I would advise you highly to contact who brought you into the business and say, hey, I need to have a My5 group. Let's open my My5 group so you do not miss out on that. Okay, so the second you join, you actually get a My5 mentor. And as you see here in your prosperity book, you want to make sure that on your first day, you have the first and last name and the phone number or WhatsApp number of every partner in your My5, right? So you put the names here, as you can see, and then you know that you can have constant access to all the information, guidance, three-way calls, answers to your questions through that group, okay? So I would like all of you to go after our call or even during our call to your prosperity book and make sure that you have the first and last name and the phone number or WhatsApp of your 5 partners, okay? Very, very important. The next thing that is very important is obviously we like to use our compensation plan as a teacher as to what we have to do and how fast we have to do it. Our compensation plan tells us that in reality, in 3 days, we can achieve LD1 and in 1 week achieve LD2 and get a fast start bonus 3 times more money on the money we've earned, right? Just because we've done it in 1 week. If we do it in 1 month, we can get double our money. So obviously from the first day you start, we're hoping that after your second, third day, you already have your 2 partners, right on the right, one on the left, and that you've already helped them to get their 2 partners. So when you got your first partner, you want to know how to build their My5 group for them, right? Now, pay attention what I recommend in every My5. If this is you, right? If you have just entered today, you will not have the ability to see in your back office what's above you. You can only see what's beneath you. That's why the My5 is important to open on your first day. So on your first day, suddenly you're being introduced to 5 mentors. How do we want those groups to be built? So if this is you, the first person above you, it could be you, your enroller, not necessarily, but because your enroller might be here and they might enroll you, and by the time they enroll you, there might have been already 3 people coming into the business before you. They are going to be above you. So the first person, right, in your binary above you is your first My5. The second person is your second My5. The third person is your third My5. Now, the fourth person here, if you can see my mouse, the fourth person might not be LD1 or LD2, right? So if this person here, your first, your second, and your third, none of them are LD1 or LD2 ranks, then that fourth My5 that you want to have, right? We want to go all the way up the leg, all the way as far as we have to go in order to identify the first partner that is an LD1 or an LD2 and put them as your fourth partner in your My5, right? So even if this person here is the next in line, if they are not LD1 or 2, and they're not LD1 and 2, and they're not LD1 and 2, and they're not LD1 and 2, that next person here, your fourth, should be either an LD1 or an LD2. And if you can't find it here or here or here, you go all the way up the line until you find the first LD1 or LD2 and place them as the fourth member of your My5 group. Okay? Now pay attention, the same thing happens with your fifth member. The fifth member should be an LD3 or an LD4, what we call an ultimate MY5. Okay, so at least every partner has a group of 5 mentors that at least one of them is ultimate MY5, which means LD3 or LD4 or above, and one of them is an LD2 or LD1. This way, we're going to have 3 people, okay, that know a little bit more than you, so they'll be able to handle 80% of the questions that you might have. They can do 3-way calls with you, but we also have the support of one LD1 or LD2 and one LD3 or LD4 in order to make sure that they keep an eye and can correct some of the answers these might give that might not be accurate. Or it's not always about accurate or not. It might actually be a different opinion, a different way of doing something, that when this LD1 or LD2 is going to give the information, not just you are going to learn from it, but also your MY5 uplines. They are going to learn from the LD3s, 4s, LD1s, and 2s. This way we can maintain a very good flow of information, and nobody will fall between the chairs saying things like, I didn't know. Okay, this is very, very important. So I recommend all of you to check your MY5 groups. Make sure that you know all of them. Make sure that in every one of your groups, there is at least one person that is an LD1 or LD2, and one person that is an LD3 or an LD4 or above. Okay, now, when you are going to open the next MY5 group for the person that you bring, the next person down here, right, you will already know all your MY5. You've already spoken to them, so it's no problem for you to talk to this guy or girl or this girl or guy and ask them, I need to open to my new person and new MY5 group. Can you help me to identify who to put in that group? Now, to summarize, the idea of this structure is that these first 3 here, a month after, already are LD1s, LD2s, right? So the more leadership we develop in every MY5, the next person, if there is already an LD3 in here, then this person will no longer need to be in the next group, right? Now we have fresh leadership that has the right ranking to be able to replace the top of the MY5s and release pressure from the pinnacle of leadership of our company as a whole. Okay, we do not want to have 10 people managing to handle 10,000 different MY5 groups. So the more our leadership grows, the more we're releasing the pressure of the top pinnacle of leadership, and the better the support and training in the MY5 groups themselves. I do not know how to iterate to you how important this part is, because if you start, sorry, I have my phone here buzzing, even if it's on silent. Basically, if you start with the right training, the right guidance, your chance of fast momentum and great creation is very, very high. But if you start and you're on your own and the only information you get is from someone that knows a little bit more than you, most likely both of you will be going nowhere. So make sure that you remember that the MY5 is one of what I call the core foundations to start our business the right way and not be limited or misguided by people that come to our company. And there are people like that with past experience, with different habits, and they come and bring their own experience, their own systems into our company. They stop duplication, they confuse people, and in many cases I've even seen they recommend people to do mistakes, to do things that are illegal and eventually actually hurting our company or our products. So if you have a good MY5, right, and it's not possible to not have a good MY5 if you follow this structure. In every MY5, we should have one LD1 or one LD2 and one person that is either LD3 or LD4, and then every new person can access the MY5 and the ultimate MY5 at all times. I will leave time at the end of our presentation today for questions and answers. So please write down the questions per topic so you don't forget the questions you wanted to ask at the end of the call. Okay? And then through your questions, I can go back in the slides. How do we work with our MY5 once we have it? Okay, so the first thing we want to do in the first 2-3 days in the business, the faster the better. We want to contact every one of the people in our MY5, our 5 mentors, and we want to have a 5-10 minute call, phone call or Zoom call with them, which we call a meet and greet, right? So you get to know them, they get to know you, they understand better your ambitions, they understand your desires, if you're a part-time serious, how much income you want to create, how fast you want to create it, what is it you love. They get to know you, you get to know them, and you create a much better relationship that will allow you to grow faster, because you won't feel embarrassed, you won't feel that your MY5, you won't feel like some of the people always come and tell me, I don't want to take your time, Ronen, you're too busy, I'm sorry. No, you have to remember, every one of the people in your MY5, every action you take is feeding them. It's feeding their family, it's feeding their kids. So they are doing their job. We are doing our job. When we bring new partners, it is our responsibility to be there to guide them, to answer the questions. And if we are busy, it's our responsibility to find the next MY5 person to replace me in case I can't come on a call. That's why there is 5 partners, not 10, 5. So we, across the globe, cover 24/7 support for you. Okay, so remember, it's very important. If you have not spoken to every one of your guides in your MY5 group, today, go and set appointments and organize meet and greet with them so they get to know you better and you get to know them better. Okay, now, how do we ask questions in the MY5? You have 5 mentors. You might choose to ask all of the 5 the same question, or you might want to have one of them specifically answer your question. So if you want to ask a general question in your group, just ask it either by text or voice message. But if you want to ask someone individual, let's say that you're in the group and your question is for Ifra Hassan. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your WhatsApp, you're going to press like you're about to text, you put the @ sign, and once you put the @ sign, a pop-up menu will come up with all of your MY5 leaders. You press the name of the person, so it highlights it, it basically tags them, and then you put your question. So Ifra, when she has hundreds of MY5 groups, she only searches for where she is tagged, because she knows that as an ultimate MY5, she's lifestyle director 4. So as an ultimate MY5, she knows that everyone will be able to answer those questions in the group. And if they need an ultimate MY5, they will tag her with the @ sign. So when I go through my MY5 groups, and I've got, I don't know how many hundreds of them, I immediately scroll to find if someone was tagging me, if someone was specifically asking for me. If they did not, I'm assuming that the answer is already taken care of with the MY5 without the need of an ultimate MY5 to respond to that. So if you want to individually ask someone to do a 3-way call for you, ask someone to do a strategy call for you, if you want individually someone to answer a particular question, that is how you do it. With the @ sign, you tag that individual, and they know that you're not asking the whole group, you're asking them specifically, individually, okay? The next is, how do we set a 3-way call or a tour with one of our MY5 in our groups? The same as I said, if you want someone specific, put the @ sign and then be very short, okay? So let's say that you want Stella to help you on a 3-way call with a potential prospect. Then you would put @ sign and then write, "Dear Stella, are you available for a 3-way call with my prospect or prospects, maybe a few of them, on Tuesday, the 4th of April, and pay attention now, at 8 p.m. UK time, because you know that Stella, your upline, is in the UK. So if you are wise, you will do the time zone calculation. Let's say you're in the United States and you want to do a presentation or a three-way call at 2 in the afternoon. You do the time calculation. You go to your calculator, or you go like me to Siri and you say, Siri, what's the time in the UK?
In London, England, it's 15:21.
And it tells me that London is 2 hours behind me. So if I wanted Stella to do a three-way call with me and I ask her to help me, let's say I want to do a presentation at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Israel, I will ask Stella, can you be available at 12 lunchtime, UK time, to do a three-way call with my prospect? And then your MY5 will receive the notification. It's better if you can give them 48 hours. If you can't, give them 24 hours. And if you don't have it, if you have someone and you need someone now, you can always go to your group and say, I have a prospect now. Is someone by any chance available? Now, sometimes they will be available, so do that, try. But if you can set the time before, it's better. The more time you give them, better. And this is why I will always recommend you. Once Stella has agreed, she said, yes, I'll do the three-way call with you, I still recommend you to go to someone else in your MY5 and tell them, Stella's going to do a three-way call with me at that time. I'm searching for my plan B. Are you going to also be available to back Stella up? If you do that, and you always have someone that confirmed and someone on the back, just in case, you will never have scenarios that, God forbid, something happened, Stella got stuck in the kindergarten with the kids, and something happened, life is life, and you don't want to go to your prospect and apologize and say, can we reschedule? So if you're wise, every time that you book an appointment, a three-way call, as a tour, anything with one of your MY5, try and get two of them. One of them to be the one that will do it, and the other one to cover for them just in case. I find that it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, the 2-3%, it does happen. At the end, I was very happy that I've secured myself a plan B, okay? And I hope that is clear for everybody. Whatever I say, if it's unclear, please write it down. I'll answer it or repeat it at the end of our call today. Now, MY5 versus general group communication. Another very, very, very important topic that I want you all to be aware of. The MY5 is the perfect private group for you and your 5 mentors to handle anything, any question you might have, any frustration you might have. Our business goes up and down. It's not always high. So there are times that we are so frustrated, we feel like quitting, right? So any question, any frustration, anything you don't agree with, every time you have a new idea, an opinion, it belongs in your MY5 amongst 5 people that are connected to you financially and that you cannot demotivate them because they're stronger, they've been around longer, and they are there to support you. So your MY5 is where you want to do all your communication, all your questions, everything. The general groups, right? So my group is the Opulence Lifestyle Family. And the Opulence Lifestyle Family has inside it the Empire family of LD4 IFRA. And my family, my Lifestyle Family group, is a part of Renee Liao News, right? And that's a part of Millionaires in Motion that belongs to Reza. So each one of us are a family inside another family. On those groups, there are hundreds of people. And we do not want people in these groups to have over chatter. We don't want people to duplicate and post the same thing over and over again because it makes people leave. And we definitely don't want people to have their questions on a general group that maybe 80% of the people do not need to hear that particular question, right? Or maybe they don't want to hear a particular challenge that you have, because if you have a particular challenge and your MY5 fixes it, you will understand. You say, okay, I get it now. But on a group, some people might make an assumption and might get demotivated, and they might not get the answer that you might get in your MY5. So in a way, we want to keep the general groups for motivation. We want them to be interactive. We want you to welcome new members. We want you to share with us your great successes, your new customers, your new partners, a great testimony that happened to you. We want you to lift each other up. But everything beyond that, any question, any action, point of action, anything you need, do it in your MY5 groups and never in the general groups. It's not the place to ask questions. It's not the place for chit chat. It's not a bulletin board. It's a place for you to receive information from corporate and from top leadership, and for you to welcome each other, to get excited, to share success, and to motivate each other. Those, the general groups, and everything else on your MY5 groups. I hope that is very, very clear as we are going to our next topic, which is edification. Now, Stella, if there is anything in the chat that I'm missing, because I cannot look at that and train at the same time, you're welcome to stop me at any time if there is a need. And if it's only questions we can handle later, please do so. So you're the host. I will let you determine those. Okay.
I've got a few questions, but I'll leave it till the end.
No problem at all. Let me close this so I can continue. The bar is on my. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to the next topic, which is edification. What is edification and why it is so important? So for so many of us, when we approach people, usually we approach people we know. It might be from our family. It might be friends that known us for many, many years. And we find that when we communicate with people that know us, it's a really strange thing, but it's in reality, we actually listen differently to people that we know than to people that we don't know. Now, if you really pay attention, have a look at when you go to a place and you meet strangers, how you're in a very particular mindset with more listening, more respect. It's like they're strangers. And it's funny, when we are with the people we know best, we know each other, it's almost like we're a lot more relaxed and we allow ourselves to listen and talk to each other in very different ways. So for instance, if I'll go to my uncle and I'll say, hey, uncle, I want to show you the best toothpaste in the world, my uncle will probably turn around and say, what are you trying to sell me now? You know, you and your stuff, right? That might be his attitude. And I know my uncle, that is his attitude. On the other hand, the same person, my uncle, if it will be a stranger, someone he doesn't know, someone introduced for a business, they will come and say, you know, I've heard about a very good toothpaste. My uncle response will be, really? Well, why? Why is it good? And that is to a stranger when his nephew, right, is the closest thing to him. For some reason, he won't listen to me in the same way. Okay, so when we talk to prospects, to people, if we have a third party, if we have another person to be able to allow me to keep a close, warm friendship relationship with my prospect, because they know me and I know them, if I bring another person, that will strengthen my process 100 times fold. Why? Pay attention to the slide here. So I'll take an example. Let's say that let's take Stella again. She's my host. So let's say Stella has a prospect and she talked to that prospect, and the prospect asked her a question such as, I don't know, it can be for instance, she talks to him about the business, and Stella and the prospects ask Stella, hey, is it a pyramid? And let's say that Stella has not been long in our industry, she doesn't know what a pyramid is, or she does. She can either answer the question herself, or if she is wise, she will say to that prospect, wow, that's a really good question. And you know what? I had the same question before I started. Let me see if I can get Ronen on the call with us, because I really like the way he answered it. Okay, and then she immediately goes to a MY5 and says, Ronen, are you available? Or if she was wiser, she had prepared me before that she's going to do three-way calls today between this time and this time, and made me be available for her. So I am available. I'm waiting just in case Stella has found a question. And I share with all my downlines, I tell them, even if you know the answers, you are better off telling them, wow, that's a great question. I really want to see what my partner has to say for that. And immediately get the upline on the three-way call, okay? Now, that does a few things. First of all, it allows Stella to see how I handle the same question, allows Stella to grow, but also strengthen the prospect. Pay attention where the edification starts, okay? So the prospect asked Stella, is it a pyramid? Stella said, hey, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. Hey, and what I found was the best person to answer that is my partner. Let me see if I can get him online. Ronen, can you come online? Ronen comes online. Now the first thing Stella does is edify me to her prospect, right? So I'll get on the call and Stella would say, hey, Ronen, I want you to meet Jonathan. He's a good friend. He's such and such. He's very good at marketing. That's why I showed him our business, and he just asked me if it's a pyramid. Jonathan, I want you to know Ronen, he has done this and this. He's been with us for that long. So now she's edifying me, okay? And while she's edifying me, because Jonathan knows Stella, there is a trust between them, right? There's already a trust base because they know each other. Once Stella edifies me to the prospect, what happened is she's using the trust that he's giving her and passing it to me. That means now she's helping the prospect to slowly trust me because he trusts Stella. Okay. Now the second that the expert, I don't know, it shouldn't say expert, it should say MY5 or an upline, because it doesn't, a three-way call does not need to be done by an expert. Actually, anyone can do a three-way call with you if they're just a little bit knowledgeable about our business, but they don't need to be expert. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But anyway, the second that Stella edified me, now when I start talking, I don't immediately answer the question. I will then edify Stella back. And I will say, wow, Jonathan, you're so lucky to know Stella. Stella has been with us for a long time. You know, she has achieved to help many, many people. So you must be very lucky to know her. Okay, so now what happened is that this triangle is working perfectly. So I edify Stella back. This person that respects me more now because Stella edified me, now he is gaining more trust towards Stella herself. So me coming in and Stella edifying me is not in order to make me important. It's in order to help the prospect trust me more, respect me more, strengthen the trust that he has with Stella. And the prospect then in his eyes says, wow, this is a good company. These guys know how to work very well together. So all of this emotional stuff has just happened before I even answered the question. And then when I answer the question, right, about whatever it was, is it a pyramid? Now that prospect is going to listen with very different ears that he would have listened to whoever it was. It's not Stella specifically that cannot answer. Stella is expert. She can answer an objection of a pyramid, right? But what Stella has shown her prospect is first that she's not alone. Second, she has the best support anyone can have, which means that when the prospect looks at this, he says, wow, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be working with good people. I'm always going to have support. And this is a company that everybody lifts each other. It's a company I want to be a part of. And that is something very hard to do without a three-way call, without a third party. But if you want to bring a third party, if you want to bring an upline, make sure you become an expert in edifying them, right? Edification is very, very, very important. It creates a psychological like and trust between those three people and opens up the ears and the heart of our prospect to receive the answer and guide them through to the next step of joining us. I hope this makes sense to everybody. Now, we are moving to our next topic. And actually, we might do two sections of questions and answers because I'm checking on my time here. We're doing all right. We're good on time. So the next topic is actually how to do an effective three-way call. For anyone that has been in the industry, I've been in the industry for 32 years, and I can tell you that three-way calls are the second. You remember how I said before about the MY5 being like a basic foundation? Three-way call is the second basic foundation. Okay, anyone in this industry knows that the people that use a third party, the people that use a three-way call in every prospects they have, those are the ones that become very successful, build very fast industries. And unfortunately, I don't know why, but the majority of people in this industry, in our industry, do not use three-way calls. They try and do it themselves in front of the prospect, a process that will diminish the numbers of enrolling percentage tremendously. Okay, so why are the three-way calls so important? As I said before, the second a third party comes into the story, the people listen to a stranger very different to how they will listen to us. And you can see that all the time, every day. I see it between married people, right? The way they talk to each other, another friend will come, so the wife will come to the husband or the husband will come to the wife and say, wow, I've seen this great business, right? And the attitude of the other partner will be, I've heard of it, it's nonsense, it doesn't work, da, da, da. They're usually very skeptical. On the other hand, if another friend on the outside or someone they don't know as much as they know their husband or their wife will come and say, hey, I've seen something good, they will actually listen in a way that is different. Why do I say that? Because I've had many people in my organization that a wife or a husband joined me, and then they went to the other partner, to their spouse, to try and get them on board. You know, hey, this is what my business is about, right? And the partners, the spouse, were not interested to even listen. And 2 months later, a friend used to tell them about that business, same company, and they did not listen to the spouse at such a level that they came home to the spouse and said, hey, listen, a friend of mine just told me about this business. I think it's good. And then the wife or the husband turn around and say, are you serious? This is what I've been doing for 1 month. I've been trying to tell you. You told me it's not good. And I've seen that happen in our industry, not once, not twice. We do not listen the same way to people we know and more to people we live with. It doesn't make sense, but it's like that. So that's why a three-way call will always allow you to stay in the same friendship connection to your prospect and allow a stranger, a third party on a three-way call to ask the questions you do not want to ask, to be able to guide your prospect to a comfortable place. They can really get answers to the question they want. Because a lot of the time, and I will finish here, a lot of the time psychologically, when we know it's someone, There are certain questions we don't want to ask and certain answers we do not want to get. Now, think from the prospect point of view. If I want to be hard or ask hard questions, I prefer to ask them from someone I don't know. So if Stella is my friend, right, and I'm the prospect, and Stella brings Rene Liao, and I don't know Rene Liao, I can ask Rene Liao a lot of hard questions because I'm not worried about insulting him. I might not ask those questions to Stella because I don't want to ruin our friendship. So I might actually hold it inside here, but not bring it out because I don't want to upset her. I don't want to demotivate her with a new business. I'm the prospect. But if she brings Rene, I don't know Rene, I can be hard with him as a prospect. I can ask him questions because I don't know him and I'm not going to see him tomorrow, but I still going to keep my friendship with Stella. Okay, so you need to see it from the prospect point of view and from Stella's point of view, that person that is trying to recruit or to sell a product to a customer. Always remember, if you use three-way call, you allow your prospect to ask the questions they might not want to ask if they know you, and allow them to move forward much easily because they know they're not only going to work with their friend, they're going to work also with other people that they can be comfortable to sometimes not always be polite or right or no, it's not polite. We want to be polite to everybody, all humanity. But as I said, there are certain questions that we might not want to ask someone we know, especially if they just started a business, they're all excited. We don't want to take the air out of their sails, right? So that's why it's so important to have an upline or a sideline or actually anyone that is a stranger on a three-way call, okay, for that process. Scheduling the three-way calls, we already discussed it before when we spoke about MY5. When you schedule your three-way, make sure if the more time you have, the better. If you can give 48 hours or 24 hours, better. If you need someone specific in your MY5, press the @ sign and ask them, are you available for a three-way call? And also get another backup. Just in case something happened to the first, then you have the second person in your MY5 to be able to do the three-way call with you. That's how you schedule your three-way call. Now, we will talk in a minute about who to do, okay? So as you can see, who should do your three-way call? I recommend always start with your MY5, but always remember, even if nobody on your MY5 is available, which should not happen because you have 5 people, but I do not know. Hypothetically, you need to understand that almost anyone can do your three-way call. It doesn't have to be someone in your MY5. It can be someone even in your downline, right? You might have someone in your downline that you have done many three-way calls with them and they became good at three-way calls. You can bring them to do a three-way call with you to your prospect. So you can do it with a downline, you can do it with a cross line, someone that's not even in your organization, right? Anyone that has the minimal knowledge of handling a few objections, of understanding our product, our company, our compensation plan in a good enough way can really help you and do a three-way call with you. The ones that I would go first will be your MY5, because remember again, everyone on your MY5 is financially connected to you, which means you succeed, they succeed. You take action, you make sales, they feed themselves and their family. So they will be the one that should have the highest level motivation to do the three-way call with you, but it does not have to be your MY5. It can be anyone, cross-line, downline, upline, right, that has the ability to do a good three-way call, which, as I said, they need to have knowledge, minimum basic knowledge of comp plan, products, and our company. The reason I say minimum basic knowledge, because the prospects don't know anything. So anyone that has been doing this for a few weeks already knows a lot more than the prospect knows. I hope that makes sense. And the process of the three-way, again, this is something you want to write and remember. The process I recommend is again, we said it before. Let's say Stella wants me to do a three-way call with her for her prospect. So she will set the time with me if she can, and if she cannot, she will try to catch me spontaneously. If she can set a time with me, it's better. Once she set the time with me, the way that I know she is waiting for me is I tell her, the second you want me to join because I'm already waiting, just send me a text, join us, and send me a link for Zoom, or call me. So if she's talking to a prospect, there is a plus sign, you just add another person to the call, and then she adds me, okay? Now, the second I jumped on the call, Stella wants to, first of all, introduce me to her prospect. I always prefer her to introduce me to her prospect. And once she introduced me to a prospect, then I want her to edify me, to introduce me to her prospect. So I get on the call, Stella tells me, Ronen, this is my prospect, and tells me about him. And then she tells her prospect, now this is Ronen, and she edifies me. And once she edified me and passed the call to me, Stella is putting herself on mute. When you guys are bringing an upline or someone for a three-way call, once you introduce them, mute. Bite your tongue till it bleeds, as Ramin used to tell me. Even if you want to add, even if you want to say something, once you have edified and transferred the call, you do not say anything until your upline has either asked you a question or returned the call to you with a point of action for you and your prospect to go and do a post-survey tour, for you to go and register them as a VIP customer or as a partner. But that is the process. Remember the process. You never bring someone to do a three-way call, and in the middle of them talking to your prospect, you interfere. Do not. It's the worst thing you can ever do. Trust your upline or whoever does the three-way call to be wise enough to edify you and to say good things about you, so you don't have to do it about yourself, and trust them to give you the call back with the next point of action. Then he will leave you or she will leave you, and you can continue with your prospect to finalize your call. I hope that is clear. So again, highly recommend to bring the partner, edify the prospect, edify the upline, and pass the call to the upline and mute yourself until your upline or the person that does your three-way call returns the call to you, or they might bring you into the conversation asking you questions. But before they do that, you're mute, you do not speak at all, otherwise you're ruining the three-way call and you're ruining your edification. A minute ago, you just said how you're impressed with that person, and now you're interfering in the middle of what they're saying. That will look bad for your prospect, and you might lose the prospect, and the prospect might lose the best opportunity he ever had in their lifetime with our company. Okay? Now, remember, another very important part is to follow up from the three-way call. So the fact that someone has done a three-way call, they give you a point of action, you really want to make sure that you follow up on it. So you tell your prospect, okay, go, I'll send you now the post-tour survey. Let me know the second you got it, so we can spend another 10 minutes, fill it in, and then I can open your account for you. Okay, so it's not, don't expect your upline or the person that does the three-way call to finalize the whole process for you. They are not coming there to close your partner. They are coming there to give you backup, to answer questions, to relax and make the prospect feel more comfortable. But the prospect needs to do the last 10 miles or the last process with you. And usually that will require a few calls over the next day or 2 days. So make sure you follow up on every three-way call somebody did. Otherwise, you're wasting 90% of all the time you have taken off yourself, off your upline. And as I said, you're taking a very you're taking a big thing away from your prospect. For me, if a prospect did not join me as a customer or as a partner, I am always hard on myself. And I always say, Ronen, you need to get better at something, because if you're not better, then that particular person who was in front of you has just lost, even if they don't see it, even if they don't understand it, they've just lost probably the only chance that they're going to get in their life to become financially free, physically healthy, real healthy, mentally healthy. And that is very hard to do with products that are really, what can I tell you? Anything that we make in our company, anything we make, if somebody else makes it, will never be as good as what we make. So if there's anything we don't make, go and buy it out there. But what we make is the best of the best of the best. And there are so many people that don't know that. So when I don't do these processes correctly, I'm also taking away something from every prospect I talk to, because they might remember the name Opulence or one of my product, Fountain of Life. And if I did not do a good job, then somebody else might approach them and they will think they already know, yeah, I heard of this. So let's all of us get really professional. Let's use three-way calls, okay, the right way, and help more people not lose this remarkable opportunity. And the last thing to remember, the word don't force. Don't force anyone to do anything, first of all, but do not force your prospect to do a three-way call, which means if I say, Stella asks me, she's my prospect, and she says, hey, Ronen, do you think someone like me can make money with this company? And I choose to do a three-way call. So I say, wow, that's a great question. I had the same thoughts before I started. And what I found out was that the best person to answer this is actually one of my partners. Let me get him online. And the person will tell you, no, Ronen, I don't want to talk to anybody else, to another stranger. Do not force them. Do not. Just say, okay, no problem. Leave it with me. I promise you, I'll talk to Ronen after the call. Maybe he'll do a recording for me just for that question, and move on, right? Do not force them, because you might find that the next day or the next week, they might loosen up, and then they will actually ask you and say, you know how you wanted me to talk to this person? I'm ready now. Okay, so do not force your prospect. Some people are shy. Some people do not feel comfortable with strangers. They want to talk to you because they trust you. So give the option. Use the 3 F's as I did before. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. What I found out is the best way, the best person to answer that is, and I give the suggestion, but if they in any way reject, do not force them. Continue your process and promise them to give them the answer or a recording or a text message from that partner you wanted them to meet later. Okay, it's the way to handle that. Okay, up to here, let's see. We have, I've actually finished my part, the first part of our training today. I finished it 6 minutes earlier than planned. So before we go to our next 2 topics, which is our next hour, I wonder if maybe, Stella, you want to see if anybody has any questions to what we spoke now, and maybe I can handle a few of the questions, and then we can continue.
Okay, we have basically one question. That's a question. The first one is a guest, and he said, could he please say the beginning of that again? I'm not sure. Maybe he wanted to repeat something if they came late and they wanted you to start again from what you had said. So that's not a question. But the actual question is from LD for Ifra Hassan. How do you deal with a prospect that may be hesitant or refuses a 3-way call? Is there a method that you use to get them to say yes? I think that actually boils down to what you've just said now.
Yes, I think that my sister probably wrote the question before I got to the last part of the slide. So, Sister Ifra, if it's still unclear, just write again so Stella can see it. But I do think I answered that perfectly. We do not force them. we suggest, and as I said, if we don't find a way to edify and say, you know, if someone says, I don't want to talk to someone I don't know, you can always say, look, I know how you feel. I felt the same. I didn't want to talk to people I don't know. And what I found from a partner of mine, actually the same one I want you to talk to, is that he told me something smart. He said that when we were born, there was nobody that we did know. Everybody was a stranger. So you should not be too concerned. But again, it is better not to force. It's better to let our prospect feel comfortable through the whole process, because if we try and force them, they might not tell us, but they're creating rejection and walls. So recommend, get excited about the partner you want them to talk to. So maybe they will feel like, wow, I want to talk to that person. It's a great opportunity. But if they still resist, the best way is say, look, how about, so you're more comfortable? We can meet Ronen at another time, but I will go with that question and ask Ronen to see if he can maybe send me an answer with a voice recording or a text. That is usually how I'd recommend to do.
Okay, I've got a repeat question. Okay, the first question that was asked wasn't very clear. So it's Robin, and she said, I'm a partner and wanted to know how to begin the process of seeing where my MY5 are.
Beautiful. So first of all, if you have a MY5 already, then you already know the first 5 above you. And as I said, if you have an LD3 or an LD4, which means if you have an ultimate MY5 in your MY5 group, contact them on a Zoom, jump on a Zoom with them, and they can show you, okay, the first 5 people. They don't have to show you their whole tree, because in reality, none of us, our business is from me and anything under me. I cannot see in my back office above me. There's a reason for that, because anything above me is not a part of my business. So just for the sake of creating a proper MY5, first of all, everyone that starts already has a MY5. And when they have a MY5, they can already see the first 5 people that they have, so they can easily create the next MY5 under them. If they're not sure, it's always worthwhile to go to your MY5, to your LD1, LD2, LD3, or LD4, and tell them, I need to build my MY5. Who do you think that the MY5 should be? Now, let me explain. I am on every MY5 in my organization, okay? And the more LD3s I get to raise, the less MY5s I will have to be on, okay? But I think you will find that most LD3s and LD4s are really on hundreds of MY5s, because we want to maintain the proper information channel. So the best way to know who is on your top 5 is probably the first 3 people in your MY5, as I said, should be the first 3 above you. And then the next 2 are LD1, LD2, or LD3, LD4. So you can access any one of those, do a meet and greet with them, ask them to share the back office with you. They don't have to show you all of the organization, but they can easily show you 5 people above you, so you can at least see who the people are. In my opinion, the reason the MY5 is developed in such a way, so none of us actually have to see someone else's back office, because the ones in your MY5 should be the ones above you, at least the 3 active ones, and then 1 LD2, 1 LD3, 1 LD1 or LD2, and 1 LD3 or LD4. So I hope that answers the question. Does it answer the question, Robin?
Robin, please let us know if your question has been answered effectively, please.
Perfect. Okay. So we are now.
Any further question, Rona? So anyone wants to ask a question themselves physically, then they can raise their hand, and I will give them the opportunity on this window before you start the second part.
No problem. Perfect timing. Exactly 6 o'clock for me. So exactly on the hour. And now we're going to go into our second hour. I'm going to try and go through all the information in about half an hour to 45 minutes and leave another 15 minutes at the end of our call for more questions, answers, or if anybody wants to open a mic or ask questions on the call itself. So the next topic for today is 2-minute story. We've done edification. Now we're going to go into the 2-minute story. Why is it so important? There is a few things we want as promoters. We want to be able to know exactly what to say at any time according to the window of opportunity that we have. So if I am going down the elevator and I have a neighbor and they say, hey, I haven't seen you, you're a new neighbor here, what do you do? I want to be able to have something in 15 seconds that I can say that will get him to say, wow, do you have a business card? I want to hear more. So I want to have my 15-second concept, right? So for me, when people ask me, what do you do? I usually say one of two things. I usually say, I really show people how to prevent poverty and improve their physical health, mental health, and financial health and spiritual health. So that's one thing that gets people excited, right? That's my 5-second thing. My 15-second thing is usually I represent the number house, fashion house, boutique fashion house in the world. And they have built in the last 17 years a one-stop shop shopping center that everything you buy on those shelves is the highest level manufacturing on the planet, stuff that usually only the rich can touch, and we bring it to the middle and low economy classes. That's my 15-second thing. Now what we're talking is about your 2-minute thing, right? 2-minute story. And a 2-minute story is important almost anywhere that you talk to someone. If you have a minute or 2 minutes, it might be in a presentation. It might be because they bring you to give a testimony and you want to give you a 2-minute presentation. It might be because I'm waiting in the bus station and somebody says, hey, what do you do? And that is where my 2-minute story comes perfect, okay? And I would like each and every one of you, if you don't have your 2-minute story written down, please do not be lazy. Today, or as we speak, take your prosperity book. There is a whole section for you to build your 2-minute story. And I would like you to build your 2-minute story, 2 of them, today. Make sure you have it today. Make sure you practice it. Make sure you know it by heart, okay? So for the 2-minute story, really consists of the following components. When did I join? Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ronen Trifon. I've joined Opulence on the 14th of March 2014, right? Second thing, why? To tell you all the truth, I was really looking for a way to make full-time income for only part-time work. That's my why, right? To be honest with you, I was searching for good antioxidants on the market for many, many years. And somebody told me that this company makes the #1 in the world, right? I can have many whys. The next, who introduced me? Who was this beautiful person that came into my life and was not afraid of my reaction? They were not afraid that I will say no. And they shared with me that there is this remarkable global movement that's changing people's life called Opulence Global, right? So who introduced me is a lady called Meshi Levy, and that's it. That's very, very short. The last thing is to really go into the testimony. And you want to have a product testimony and you want to have a business testimony. Okay, so your product testimony is really your stories about retail sales, your experiences, stories, and your passion for a product or a range of our products when you think about it. Okay, so I might do my testimony to be, I've always wanted a really good antioxidants because I had a lot of inflammation issues, I had back pain, and friends recommend that if I'll find a good antioxidant that will make a difference. And what can I tell you, from the day I've used Fountain of Life, it has changed everything. Flexibility, the way I sleep, right? This is and it fits into the 2 minute. I can actually do a 1 minute testimony, which is long. So please understand, when we say 2 minute story, it doesn't have to be 2 minutes. You can do a 30-second story. You can do a 1 minute story. What we're trying to share with you is not to make it any longer than 2 minutes, because 2 minutes is just too long, right? And I will share it at the end when we get to the summary of it. One thing to remember, you might start a week ago, 2 weeks ago. You might not have yet personal results towards your product. So if that is the case, you can use in your 2 minute story, you can use the successes and experiences of other people. Where you will find those experiences, you can find them on our official Facebook page, Fountain of Life Official, Safe Home Revolution website, right? There is endless thousands of testimonies. And then if you want to include someone else's testimony, it will sound something like, hi, my name is Ronen Trifon. I've joined this company in March 2014. The reason I joined is because I was searching for a long time for a good antioxidant, and I've heard this company has it. And the person that introduced to me, God bless her, Meshi Levy, she told me that she had remarkable result and that it really affected her skin acne that she had, and it fixed her mom pain that she had in her leg, and it really helped her father to stop going to the toilet all night long. So I decided to try it. Now I've only been using it for 2 weeks. All I can tell you is I feel its strength, but I can't wait to get to the experiences that Meshi is having. But she told me it will take about 2-3 months. So I'm really excited. Highly recommend people to try. Okay, so you can use other people's stories, successes, until you have your own. Okay, I see someone raise their hand.
Yes, it's just trying to find her.
Okay, I will continue until you will raise them. Now, we finished speaking about the product testimony, and now we want to speak about the business testimony. And remember, business testimony can be anything. It can be your personal income earned, right? So if you want to know, go to your back office, go to your e-wallet, and go to the bottom, you will see a summary of all the money that came in. And then you can say, I've been doing this for 2 months and I've been earning such and such, right? I can say since the time I started with this company, I've made at least $450,000. So I can see it in my back office. The next thing you can share, okay? Size of your entire organization. If you go to your back office again, and you go to organization, and you go to team summary, you can easily see the number of people that you have in your entire organization and say, I've been doing this for 6 months, and I already have 200 people, partners in 7 different countries. It's all in your back office. So know how to find the details you need for your business testimony, okay? The next thing you can give testimony on, total sales volume in your entire organization. Once again, go to your back office, go into organization, and then go into team volume. And go to the summary of your total volume of what your team has generated in the last year, and you can show it, right? If I go to mine, I can easily say that my total organization has been making between $60,000 to $150,000 a week on average for the last 3 years, right? So I can do that because it says that in my back office. So go and know how to find those details that I'm sharing with you in your back office and add them to your 2-minute story in your prosperity book today as you're writing it down. If you are confused, if you're not sure where to find any of those points that I'm sharing with you, go to your My5, ask the question there, get on a Zoom with your partner, and they will help you to build your 2-minute story, okay? And the last thing in your business testimonials that you can use is your growth target in sales teams and your income in the last 12 months or 24 months, right? So if I want to speak about my growth, I would say it was amazing to see how from 2019 to 2020, my organization grew 300%. And it's true. Okay, so you can measure the growth of your organization once again through the volumes. Just go to your team volume and you will see what you've made last year in this month compared to this month. You can do year to year, you can do month to month comparison, but you can basically give your testimonial a lot of meat and substance if you can use those 4 pieces that our CEO and owner created for us in the forensic to give us a better idea of how to make a testimony sound good. Now, you can use one of those, you can use 2, you can use all 4. It's your testimony, it's your 2-minute, and remember that you're not doing it for yourself to say, wow, look at me. This is not for our ego. This is in order for the prospects that are listening to us to gain belief that they can also do it, okay? So testimonies are not to convince, testimonies are to give a comfort zone to the prospect that listens and get them to start to understand what so many people don't understand, and that is, I can also do it. Never mind what age I am, never mind what skill set I am, never mind which country I came from, never mind my belief, never mind my skin color, never mind anything. I can do this. This is the power of 2-minute stories, and it really adds a lot to the process of exposing our amazing platform to people around the world, okay? Now, let's review the 2-minute story so you can all go and do it today. If you don't have a 2-minute story, make sure you have one today for a product and for a business, okay? So let's review this. When we start to build it, when did I start? Why did I start? Who introduced me? And then my product testimony or my business testimony. And this is how it looks in your prosperity book. Go and find this page and start writing it down. And remember, simple. When? Hi, I'm Ronen Trifon, joined March 2014. Why? I've really looked for a way that I can make a full-time income with only part-time basis. And I really also wanted a business I can do around the world with a laptop and not be limited to one place. The person who introduced me, God bless her, Meshi Levy, she had a really good experience with this company a few months before she introduced it to me. So I really had to have a look because I trusted her. And what I found was, and here I can go into the product or to the business, what I found was, wow, this product Fountain of Life and the microsilver toothpaste has changed my life. They've done this, they've changed my hair, they've helped me with this, they strengthened my teeth, they whitened my teeth, and I give the testimony. Or in business, what I found is that Meshi's experience actually was magnified by me. And although she was the one that brought me into the business, I've made more than 100 times more income than she ever did with this company, which proved me that this company is the fairest in the world. It's irrelevant when you started, it's irrelevant where you're positioned, you can make more income without a glass ceiling than anybody else. Thank you very much. And if anyone is considering this, I highly recommend this platform. Once you do it, it will become your home. You'll never do anything else. Boom, finished my 2-minute testimony. As I said, it can be 1 minute, 30 seconds. Just make sure it is not longer than 2 minutes. Okay. Now, we are going to, again, open for questions and answers. if there are, and if not, I'm going to go into the next 20, 25 minutes into something that I think we should all know and learn. So before, let's take all the topics till now, because now I'm going into a new topic. Let's see if there's anybody that wants to release their microphone, ask questions. We have 15 minutes. I've done this fast. So we have 15 minutes for questions and answers easily. And if there is no questions and answers, if there is no questions, I will continue.
I haven't seen no question in Q&A, but like you said, if anybody wants to raise their hand, it's left for them to ask you the question physically. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, you can open your microphone like Ronan says, and you can ask your question.
I'm starting to see some of the chats here. I want to say thank you to so many of you for your kind words. Thank you, Karen, Raymond. Thank you, Miriam, Janine, every one of you. It's very encouraging because, you know, as trainers, we never know the impact of what we do on the other side because it's only us delivering, but to get your feedback and to know that you're with me, you're getting this, the penny is dropping, and that you can go tomorrow and teach it, there is nothing more gratifying for me. So thank you. I appreciate all of you so much. Okay, so if there's no questions.
I think everybody is very happy with all the training and explanation. So I think they prefer to actually stay in the background, and they've made their points known on the chat, which is incredible.
Sounds good, because we are about to go.
I've got one hand. I've got one hand on it.
Okay, so please, we have the time.
Okay, Sherilyn, I've unmuted you. Please go ahead. Sherilyn, can you hear me?
There, I was on mute. Good morning to both of you. I jumped up this morning, as you saw, 2 minutes to 9, which is a big time, because I didn't want to miss any knowledge that Ronan had to say today. And you are fabulous as usual. And I'm so glad that you're spending time on this section, because it's a time, it's an area that the MY5 and how to edify someone that we take for granted sometimes. Sometimes we forget about it, we get sloppy with it, and you really brought it back for us to say, focus on these crucial small little areas that become and will be the big stepping block to your success and to your success with a new prospect. So I thank you very much. You're clearing everything so well. That's why there's no questions.
Perfect. Thank you,
Sherilyn, for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll definitely open the mics after I finish this last section, because I also enjoy seeing your faces. The ones of you that can put the cameras on, I'd love to hear your voices. But I do want to give you, and that's why I've added this part of our training for today, because what I'm going to share with you today, very few people in our industry know. And I believe that we should all know. You know, in the Forensic Networker, we speak a lot about the tripod of belief. It's a very, very smart concept. And the tripod of belief basically says that the person is in the perfect place to build their business once the 3 legs of this tripod are even and strong, right? Because a tripod, if one leg is weaker, will always fall. And the 3 legs, the 3 legs of our industry, the tripod, is really the first one, and so important, is our knowledge and belief in our industry as a whole. Now pay attention, I didn't say just believe, I said our knowledge and belief, because belief without knowledge is never the same strength as belief that's based on knowledge. Okay, so I can say I really believe in the network marketing industry, in the MLM industry, but if I also have a reasoning through knowledge, it makes the leg very, very strong. So for me, it's not enough to say, I believe in the industry because it has made so many millionaires. I want to know more. I want everyone to understand our industry, its history, its evolution, in order to really strengthen this and no longer ever doubt even for a second that our industry is in question. This is not 1980. This is not the 70s. Our industry is not in question. It's an industry that has created, I don't know how many billions of dollars, millions and millions of people that have literally changed their life. So I want you all to know more about that part. The second leg is obviously my knowledge and belief in my company and their offering. In our case, products, right? It's very important for that leg to be strong. If you do not have self-experience in a product, if you do not have proof of earning, if you do not understand the compensation plan and why it's so different to anything else out there, if you do not know why our Safe Home Revolution has no competition, then your leg is weak, okay? And the third leg, and that one will have to be a whole lecture on its own because it's the strongest and most important, and that is our knowledge and belief in ourselves. How much do I know myself? And through the fact that I know myself, how much does it help me to believe in myself? Because it's only when we believe in us, others will believe in us. So that world comes from self-development, self-awareness, to know myself, and that helps strengthen my belief. Hence, I recommend, in order to strengthen your third leg, do not let a day in your life go by without at least 15 minutes to 30 minutes. Sit and listen and feed your brain with data of self-development and self-awareness. You can do it in your car, when you're stuck in traffic. You can do it before you go to sleep. You can do it in the morning. Do it whenever you want. You can just go to YouTube. It's for free. The best that humanity has to offer. Everything out there. John C. Clarke and Tony Robbins and Robert Kiyosaki and Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar. They're all there for free, waiting to feed your mind in order to strengthen your third leg. Do not just listen to this presentation and let it go. This presentation is worth nothing unless I somehow manage to create desire in you to never let another day go by with you not feeding your mind with positive self-development, self-awareness material, because that's what's going to make you go out there and become a magnet to others. Because people love smile, they love people that are strong, they love people that are aware. They don't like arrogant people, they don't like narcissism, they don't like people that see only themselves. No, but they love people that are invested in self-development and self-awareness, because we are usually very positive. And we believe there is no problems, only challenges, and we believe there is no challenge that cannot be overcome. And we know and appreciate the simple things in life through self-development and self-awareness, such as wake up every morning thankful for something, because a thankful person cannot be upset. A thankful person cannot be complaining. They are thankful, right? Small concept. Never let yourself go to sleep without telling yourself 5 great things that you've done today. And it doesn't make a difference if you got yourself to take the garbage down, or made food for someone or for yourself, or anything. Tell yourself 5 great things you did today before you go to sleep, And do not think of all the things you did not achieve, you're unhappy with. No. Sleep well, wake up well, value every minute and every hour and every day that you have, because no one is promising us another one tomorrow. And it's our prime obligation to be happy now, not to wait for something. So all of this stuff comes from the third leg. You are the most important part for us, you. Okay, so knowledge of yourself, knowledge and belief. Today, we're going to touch on the first leg of the tripod, which is knowledge and belief in our industry. So I hope you all have pen and paper or take screenshots, because I'm going to give you a lot of data today. Okay? Our beautiful, beautiful industry. A lot of people are not aware of it, but they actually started in 1903 with a company that many of the old dogs will remember and probably still have till today. I don't know if you remember J.R. Watkins. And J.R. Watkins, they dealt with direct sales, and they had vanilla, cinnamon, spices. They started at the same year as Harley Davidson, okay? And J.R. Watkins was the first company that actually came to people and said, hey, you can buy from me wholesale and sell to someone retail, okay? And they were the first to open direct sales. Of course, other companies such as Avon came a bit later, but in reality, the first copy for everything good out there that's doing well, usually copies start to come and appear. And the first copy of our industry was actually in 1909 with a company called W.T. Rawlings. Okay, so there was just a little bit, not much. Nobody really knew a lot about that until 1942. And in 1942, started a company called California Vitamins. And they were really the first MLM company. It wasn't MLM in those days, it was network marketing. But they were the first. Why? Because they took the concept of direct sales, buy from me and sell to someone, and said, wait a minute, we can also allow you to bring another good person that also wants to make some money. And if you brought them, if they're brought because of you, we will pay you not only on what you sell, but we will pay you also a percentage of the profit of that person that you brought us to sell. So it's almost like a finder's fee, a percentage of whatever that person that we found for the company will get. So California Vitamins has really started our industry. What is so important is that in 1949, California Vitamins have become Neutralite. Okay, now that name would have gotten lost in history unless two people would have joined that company in 1949. And those two people are Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel. Now, 10 years after they have joined Neutralite, they have decided, very similar to our CEO and owner, they decided we need to fix things. Let's open a company ourselves. And in 1959, Rich DeVos and Jay Van Andel left Neutralite and opened a company that some of you might have heard of, which is called Amway, the American Way. It is upon this company that any MLM company existing today, they're all sitting on the shoulders of this remarkable company called Amway. Okay? Now, Amway's success was gradually, and we will talk about multiple S features today, but the crazy thing that happened is Amway very, very quickly ended up buying Neutralite themselves. And Amway was the first company to improve the industry and say, we will pay you, but not just for the people you brought, we will pay you for 3 generations. So if Ronan brought Stella and Stella brought someone, right? Now I'm going to get paid on 3 generations and not just as it used to be on 1 generation, okay? So 3 generations. And that was a big evolution. Now, I want you to see what's happening with our industry, because no one really knew about direct sales or network marketing. It was very much under the radar until this company called the American Way, Amway, which really started. They actually started with 2 products not many people know that failed. They tried to make rocking horses, and they also were trying to sell bomb shelters against chemical, nuclear, biological. No one knows the story too well. It crashed very, very quickly, and then they came with SA8, which was a laundry detergent. And with that laundry detergent and a few extra products, not many, Amway, under the radar, until 1972, have created an earning of 600 million per year in sales. We're talking 1972, so you understand the impact of 600 million in sales per year. It is insane for those days. Where there is success, there is copies. And from 1972 to 1975, started to pop hundreds of companies that were trying to do network marketing. The majority of them were scams, were Ponzi games. Many people started to get hurt. And the worst thing that happened, specifically in Amway, many people started to invent the wheel and lie. And that's where people started to find themselves being invited to a barbecue, and they're coming with thongs and shorts. And suddenly in the middle of the barbecue, here comes the whiteboard, and they're starting to draw circles. And the people thought, really, it created a really bad name. And because of those complaints and bad name, what happened in 1975 is the Federal Trade Commission filed a lawsuit against the whole industry. And that went all the way to the Vice President of the United States and the high courts. And they sued the industry of being a pyramid, a Ponzi game. Something crazy happened since 1975 to 1979. You see, any other industry, the second the Vice President of the United States and the Federal Trade Commission come and say, hey, this might be illegal, normally any industry, any business will fall apart. Nothing will left. Nothing. But in Amway, something really strange happened. Because the product was good, people were still happy. They were receiving their products every month. They were receiving their checks. No one left. Now, recruitment stopped. Everybody was sitting back and saying, let's see what's going to happen. Let's see what's going to happen. But the company survived for 4 years because that litigation went mainly against Amway because they were the biggest player. So the whole lawsuit went against Amway. No one left, no recruiting for 4 years. And in 1979, Amway won the lawsuit. Not only they won, that because of that 4-year litigation came what we call today the Amway ruling. And I would like each and every one of you, once we finish today, I would like you to go to your Google, and I would like you to put FTC 93-618. That's the Amway ruling. And the Amway ruling is a group of rules that specify what is the boundaries of a legal multi-level market company versus illegal companies that are playing outside the scope, outside the field of these rulings. And those rulings are very important for each and every one of us to learn so we can explain to the uneducated when they come and ask, is it a pyramid? we can explain to them why it is not, why we are aware that there are many scams out there and many Ponzi games, because we were unaware, we were uneducated, and we thought they're all the same. But what we found out after this training is that it's not the case. And that companies that abide by the MY ruling are legal, sustainable, and let me tell you, Opulence, according to my knowledge, after 8 years, is smack bang in the middle. Smack bang in the middle. That means we could not be more legal. Now, let me give you an idea of some of those rulings and how important they are, because they're all about protecting us, the customers. And you might say, yeah, but we are partners. Yeah, we are partners, but we are, first of all, customers of Opulence. Each one of us is the best customer. That's how you should look at your business, right? So if I'm a distributor, I'm first of all a customer of my company, and then I will promote it because I'm such a happy customer, because I love the products, because I love the way they pay me, because I love the family, I love the owners, I love everything. So it's obvious that I will promote it. But if I'm not a customer and I don't have a good products experience, or I'm not earning income, or I don't like the company, or I don't like the management, or whatever, how can I ever promote it and expect to succeed? That doesn't make sense. So we are foremost, we are customers, and then we are business owners, then we are promoters, okay? So some of those rulings, pay attention how important they are, okay? In order to define that MLM is not a pyramid, right? There is over 65 rules of the legal MLM MY ruling. And for example, just so you'll understand, in 1990, Nu Skin was sued by the FTC, claiming it's a pyramid, and Nu Skin won. Why did they win? Because they were inside the boundaries of the ruling. They had a real product, not some technical stuff, some service they're trying to give, or some crypto that's trying to do recruiting together with crypto, right? They had real products. Some of the other things in their ruling, for instance, most people don't know, but if you want to be a legal MLM, you must prove that a downline can earn more than the upline in the compensation plan you build. Another important ruling is that no one is allowed to stock up in the garage or in a warehouse. And the ruling stipulates that whatever you bought this month, 70% of it must have been used either by you or being sold before you are allowed to order more product, which means you are never allowed to have more than 30% of the product that you purchase, in order to make sure that none of us create stock in our house. And for some people that have been pushed to buy products, like in other companies, it doesn't happen here. We have a beautiful system. But other companies, many people trying to get to a rank, trying to get to a qualification, and they buy and buy and buy product, and they don't know how to retail. They don't know how to sell it, so they accumulate it. It goes out of date, and then they really lost money. And the spouses are not very happy. Okay, so in order to prevent all of those little things that we have learned until 1975, came the MY ruling to make sure that companies that are legal do it right. Okay, so we just touched a few pointers, right? Like the 70-30 rule, like real products versus not real products, earnings through downline and upline. So I highly recommend all of you go put FTC 93-618 and go and study the ruling of what makes MLM not only a legal industry, but the most beautiful industry on this planet, and the only one, in my opinion, that gives the average individual a true chance at becoming financially free. Okay? Now, in 1979 to 1982, because now the United States Supreme Court and the Federal Trade Commission has announced that our industry is now legal, certified, everyone went crazy. And a massive boom came. And between 79 to 1982, this is where Herbalife started, right? Over 2 million people joined the MLM industry. Hundreds of companies started to create big incomes. Why am I saying this? Because you see, until 1980, 1985, more like 1980, where Herbalife started, until then, the MLM industry was considered as a really secondary income for women that were staying at home while their husband were going to work, 50s and 60s and 40s. So it was really for, the wife to go and knock on a friend or sell some cosmetic or Avon. It was about bringing a few $100s extra. But from 1980, many companies, as you can see, from 80 to 1984 was the beginning of big companies with multiple S-curves. And I will draw it in a second so you better understand it, okay? When that started to happen from 1980 to 1984, many people started to look at our industry not as a secondary income of a few $100s, but actually understood that here, in 5 years or more, you can literally create millions, such as Reza Mizgalu, Rene Liao. I can give you hundreds of names of people that are making $100,000 a month and above. That's big money. And that has changed the industry because it started to attract another different demographic of successful people, business people, investors, because those two companies, Herbalife and Nu Skin, went to the stock exchange, and that started to create people like Robert Kiyosaki and other big investors. They started to look at us, okay? And I think it was, 1984, it was both Herbalife and Nu Skin that has again changed the industry to pay 6 levels down. Okay, they were the first to pay 6 levels down. Now, when you think of what we have, a compensation plan that's to infinity. I mean, we are the only company I know that does that, but most companies today will give you 20 levels. Some of them may be 40, but the reason that they've moved 6 levels down in the pay is that they understood that they have an issue with growing leadership. They understood that if you only pay for 3 levels, the chance of you finding a leader in the first 3 levels is very, very, very small, because the majority of great leaders can come 50 layers, 20 layers, 100 layers down in depth. And if people don't pay people, they won't work with them. So the old compensation plans, never mind if they were uni-level, breakaways, normal binary, all of them have limited the growth of leadership and limited the identification of great leadership in depth. Okay, and with the rest, the minute they started to recognize that, they started to pay deeper, and it forced them to once again start looking at compensation plan and change them. Creating a compensation plan is a very complicated structure, because you need to pay a massive field ahead of time. You need to calculate and simulate ahead of time, and you never know how the field will grow. You never know if it's going to grow wide, or if it's going to grow deep, or if it's going to go wide and deep. And every aspect of a compensation plan is affected by the field. If you build the compensation plan wrong, your company will break down very quickly. Okay, so for the first time, Nu Skin was recommended at that stages, right? We're talking 80 to 85. They were recommended by Merrill Lynch and by Goldman Sachs as New Skin went to the stock exchange, then Herbalife also on the stock. That has really elevated our industry to a lot more of what we know towards the 90s, 1990 onward. And I want you to truly see opulence inside our industry in order to understand how unique we are. Because I gave you some really big names today. Let's take the first one, Amway, and let me see if I can draw for you. I don't know if I can draw and share at the same time. I wanted to, let me see if I can do that. Let's see if it gives me a pen. No, I don't think so. I wanted to draw for you what the S-curves mean. So allow me to stop sharing for a second. Let me check the time. We're okay. Let me do a whiteboard. Okay, so have a look at that. When you measure businesses, you always start from here, right? And then you have a growth. Usually goes like this, and then stabilize. So you see it looks like an S, right? This is normally, most companies, they usually start like this. They have their growth period, they balance off, and then they usually go down. And at that stage, about 92% of them disappear in the first 3 years, okay? It's very rare for companies to have a stage of growth, stabilization, and then another growth, and then stabilization, and then another growth. This is what we call multiple S curves, okay? And any company that you will see that is 20 years and over, without multiple S curves, they won't succeed. Think of Apple. Their first multiple S, right, was when their creator was with them, when Jobs was there, and that Jobs got fired, right, and they had a drop, and then they brought him back with the iPod, and then and it went up again. So they experienced a multiple S curve, okay? Every company that you want to invest in long-term, 50 years, 100 years, you want to check their history and see if they had multiple S curves, right? Because most likely it won't stop. These are the companies that have the best research and development. These are the companies that are constantly looking for the next evolution. They think out the box. They constantly evolve with times. And you will not find a company that does it better than us. The S curves. Why? Because, I mean, listen, it's just that what's happening now in 2022 when we are talking about metaverse and Web3 and developing a crypto coin called Designer Coin, and we are developing NFTs now. And on top of that, we're expanding our Safe Home Revolution into Collagen Plus and into FOL Clinical, and we're going into the world of smells. And it's impossible not to have rising curve. This is why I'm with this company for 8 years. I'm probably going to be here for another 20 as long as they let me live that long. But most people do not know how to find the things I'm sharing with you. They do not understand how to measure if they're in a great company or not, right? So if you want to look at a good example of S-curves in our industry, let's look at Amway's life, right? Amway, the first S, the first growth and stabilization started from 1959 to 1975. Remember, they made 600 million in sales, and then came the litigation that created a stop to the growth. Most companies would fall, they die there. But no, in 1979, the second that they've announced that it's legal, another S growth went crazy. A new generation of leaders came that you did not hear about those leaders in the first curve. Actually, it's the second curve leaders that have earned much more than the first curve leaders. Their leadership expansion, their product expansion has brought them at 1990 to $2 billion. And then the next S curve was when they went on a global expansion. And that brought them to 9 billion by 2012. If you look at the 17 years of Opulence Global, and if you heard the wonderful story that our CEO and owner has shared with us as how we started in a home office and how every creation of something new has created their next jump. And if you've been here long enough, you understand what happened when they started with the 19 and 21 karat gold, and what happened when they created palladium silver, and what happened every time they moved into another part of our industry in fashion, and what happened when they brought Posh Vibe with healing stones. And then the next S-curve came again with the creation when our CEO decided, let's do the #1 anti-aging skincare in the world. And that brought Fountain of Life to us and medical grade microsilver to us, and right? And now we're in front of the next S-curve in Opulence. This is what I want you all to take away from today. We are in front of the next biggest S-curve this company has ever seen. You mark my words, and look what happens in the next 10 years. And you will remember this presentation, because everyone out there, if they are looking to jump at the beginning of one of the biggest climbs, better do it not with startups. Better do it not with companies that promise you we will have a growth. Better do it with companies that already had 2 S growths and are about to go to their 3rd or their 4th. And Opulence is situated smack bang in the middle of creating the biggest S-curve this industry has ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because this industry has seen a lot. But my belief in our owner and in this company is so strong, because I did not measure it as a perfect company. It was never perfect. It's not supposed to be. I measured it as how fast it changes, grows, adapts, becomes better. And I don't know of any company in our industry today that can do it as well as we currently do. And for that, we all owe a big thank you to this remarkable corporation, to the remarkable staff that is working for us. And I want you all to remember, the industry is no longer in question. If you have a question towards the industry after today, you should not, because this is a massive industry. Remember, the industry is no longer in question to all that understands the industry. And I hope that today, all of you understand the evolution of our industry a little bit better. And the next time, we should talk about our second leg in the tripod, our third leg in the tripod. And I was planning to also go a little bit into compensation plans with you today to explain to you what happened in the uni levels, what happened with the breakaway, and what happened with binary, and why our binary is so unique and so different, because it solves most of the problem that the normal binary created in the world. I know many big leaders that hate binary. They prefer uni levels, they prefer different matrices on binary, because they believe that their binary is actually stopping leadership. And I was going to give you a whole 10-minute explanation of that today, but we're running out of time. So I want you all to understand that when you hear binary, it is very different to the Opulence unique binary. There are so many differences between the normal binary and our binary, and that probably deserves a whole presentation on its own. So maybe we should do a training, an explanation of the history of binary, the history of compensation plan in our industry, and why our compensation plan is by so far away from anything else out there. It's in a different stratosphere to where all the other compensation plan in this industry exists today. I want to open the last few minutes for us for questions and answers. I hope it was informative for you. I hope you learned a lot. And what I truly hope is that you all will share it onward. Take what you learned today, educate yourself, go to the website on Google, have a look at the MY ruling, And tomorrow, you guys can start teaching all the people about our remarkable, remarkable industry, so people can respect it more than any other industry out there. With a lot of love, a big hug to all of you. I bring it back to our remarkable host, and I will say goodbye unless there is questions. I'm going to stay here to answer them. Back to you, Stella.
Thank you so much, Ronan. It's giving me goosebumps because I never knew so much about MLM, even though I've been in a few of them. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, we only have about a few minutes. We don't have much time. And please just give you a few minutes or so to ask your questions so we can actually go on to close the call. I haven't seen any hands. Oh, I've got Beverly Baptiste. I'm going to unmute you, please. You only have a few seconds because we don't have much time. So I'm giving you the opportunity so you can make it quick, very quick, so that Ronan can answer that question. Can you hear me, Beverly?
Sorry, my hands accidentally touched, but a great call, Ruan.
Okay, all right. And
Thank you very much, Beverly. Anyone that wants to add something, give a comment, ask a question, just unmute them. There's no problem. You know me, I like not formal, but I will recommend at this stage, Stella, that you will stop the recording, as I always like to have tools for people that are not with us today, so they don't have to go through all the other stuff and at least they have material. So I would stop the recording now, and